This year, obviously, we had this lovely collaboration with the RAD and This Works with the Moving Summer, providing online classes for families at home. Now, as a leading beauty and wellness brand, what did you want to achieve through this?
So, this really was inspired by finding ourselves in a really unusual time where we were in our homes. So much of our normal activities had gone because we were in lockdown. People were more stressed than normal. People's sleep levels were deteriorating. And the idea of helping people to find some release and some escapism, to connect their minds and their body through movement, something that was not about, you know, the gym or doing all these classes that people have signed up to. We thought it would be really nice to encourage people to also include their families, children, because of obviously the RAD has got an excellent reputation and a large base of dancers that start off very young, and the idea of using dance to help people to connect with themselves, to maybe instill some body confidence. You know, it wasn't about being a dancer like yourself, but it was about trying and moving, and just the act of moving has really grounding properties. So we wanted people to try it at home, not worry that anyone was watching, it didn't matter, have some fun, laugh, and enjoy the music, actually, because the music is so beautiful, and that was really a very important element of that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I totally understand everything you're saying. It is trying to simplify it, make it relaxed. It's that opportunity to experiment with things that maybe you've never done before. But as you say, working as a family is so lovely. You never get that opportunity normally. So I think it was quite a special time for a lot of people. I mean, tough for others. Yeah. But I think if you got that opportunity to experience as what you were talking about, I think it's a lovely thing. So you've trained as a fitness instructor, I hear.
Yeah.
Well,
I did start with ballet, actually, to be fair. It did start with ballet, and it did start, you know, at 4. So the idea of moving and dance and poise and posture and all of those things, I loved it. I was obsessed with high impact aerobics.
Oh, really?
And I wanted to teach and to, you know, be part of that movement. And women at that time were, you know, beginning to understand the benefits of exercise and using, you know, going to classes, being part of a community. And it really gave me a passion for exercise, and also learning the importance of movement in your daily life, and how you can use movement for mood balancing and, you know, boosting your mental resilience, really.
And you probably realise now also that it doesn't actually have to be extreme to get all the attributes from it, does it?
No, that's right. And we would, you know, back in the day, although there was a lot of intensity and high impact, there was also stretch classes, and there were, you know, toning classes, and they were much more gentle. So, and then you're right. I mean, today, for me, just going for a walk is pleasure and exercise, you know.
Yeah, it lifts us naturally, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Obviously, with dancers' bodies, we're constantly focusing on strength, keeping very fit, pushing ourselves, you know, out of the limits, all those things. But we've learned a lot now on maintaining stamina and how we recover our physical health, even though we're constantly striving for more and more. What do you think is the most important elements of maintaining a general sense of wellness and well-being?
So for This Works, you know, we are essentially a skincare well-being business. So we look at the whole person. We look at their well-being and how that affects their appearance, their skin, and how they feel. So we have been in the area of circadian rhythm. We've been looking at circadian rhythm for the last 8 years, and how the body clock can really affect your or controls all your biological function. And so your question around, how can we be resilient and how can we be strong? From my point of view and from this work's point of view, it's very much about respect your body clock, understand the need to rest and recover. So for a dancer, you put yourself through so much physical strain, really, and you push yourself to the limit, and you'll know, I'm sure, how hard you had to work to be at the standard that you're at, hours and hours and hours of practice. And so that need to recover fully and allow the muscles and the body, including the mind, to get the rest it needs is essential for performance. So, I mean, as human beings and animals actually generally, light is a very, very important part of our being, in that it helps to set the clock that controls the processes within the body. And this body clock is actually controlled from within the brain, but also there are small clocks actually in other areas of the body, and obviously it's not a real clock, but it's this kind of time setting mechanism which is influenced by daylight, but also choices in terms of lifestyle. So people, when we go to work, when we get up, so you'll find naturally that you would wake up at a certain time and you would sleep at a certain time. And human beings, before we became so civilized, would be triggered by in the evening, daylight decreasing and dimming of light, and that would signal that it would be time for us to prepare for sleep. And so the hormones are released, and the sleep hormone is called melatonin, and it's released in the evening, and it helps to pave the way to put the body into sleep, and it needs darkness for that. And then in the morning, and before you're awake, light is perceived by through the eyes, so your eyes aren't open, but the body knows that daylight is increasing, and another hormone called cortisol begins to rise, and cortisol prepares us for activity. So it's the rising of the cortisol in the morning that gets us out of bed and gets us moving. It gets our muscles working, our heart and our lungs ready, so the heartbeat increases. And this hormone increases and then decreases during the day as melatonin rises. So one raises and one decreases. And actually what's really interesting is that if we don't respect that natural rhythm and we override it, in other words, we don't go to sleep on a regular basis, regular timing, and we don't get enough sleep, or we wake up halfway through the day, and our bodies get out of sync, and these hormones that regulate us also get out of sync. And so you see people with developing chronic insomnia, and also high levels of stress, because cortisol, the stress hormone, is suppressed at night by melatonin. So if you're always on and your brain is always active and you're unable to unwind, then this cortisol is up at higher levels, and that's how we feel stressed. That's why we get this feeling of stress, and that impacts our sleep. So rhythm is the daily rhythm of life is really important, and we should respect it. And obviously rhythm in movement and music, I'm a big fan of rhythm and nature's rhythm, and not letting go of the fact we always want to have control over everything, and just let nature guide us in terms of how we live our lives.
I think it's really important, isn't it, to know that we're all connected to nature's rhythm, and we can't decide our own.
Exactly.
It's often how society pushes us to strive, I suppose. But I think you're right. We're understanding that you can't go against it, and you actually get better results from yourself, and how you, as you say, resilience, how you cope with everyday work, is listening to your rhythm of your sleeping, your clock. That balance is so important. And I suppose movement is a big part of that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because sleep means that you recover. So when you are asleep at night, this is when so much of the repair processes take place within the body. This is when DNA repairs itself. This is when growth takes place in children. This is when the brain detoxifies. This is when skin cells renew themselves. So I talk about night and what happens at night, and then in the same breath, I have to talk about being active and movement and being awake, because it's the yin to the yang. So when you wake up in the morning, back to cortisol, back to daylight, you should start to move, because that movement and the daylight in the eye helps to set the rhythm. It also helps to burn off the cortisol.
Yes.
So moving around, going for a walk in the morning, doing a dance class, helps to burn out excess cortisol that will sit in your body and accumulate, so leading to stress if you don't get rid of it. So being active is very important for many reasons, and you'll be the expert more than me in that area. But you know, the need for blood flow, muscle strength, and core strength, and bone density, so we don't get osteoporosis, and you know, mood management. And you know, humans are supposed to move. We're not supposed to be sedentary, because we would have died. Like it's you know, if we'd sat still as prehistoric, you know, men, we would have got killed. So it's the reality. We have to move. We have to find food. We had to be safe from predators. So we're built to move, right?
And every joint in our body has to be oiled, because if you don't move those joints, they freeze and they become incredibly stiff and uncomfortable. So I think we're all finding that out very clearly, and especially with the time we've had where we haven't been able to get up to our normal activities. We've really noticed it, haven't we?
Yeah, no, it's so true. I think during lockdown, I speak from my personal view that, you know, I was on Zoom for 12 hours a day, and you know, actually I've really suffered from that, and I know better, but I still found it very difficult. So doing the class with the RAD was great for me, because it forced me, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this in my bedroom and badly, but even so, it was a reason to escape.
Yes, and it's important to have those things, isn't it? I mean, we've got to make time for ourselves and understand that has to be part of that rhythm. And looking after ourselves is only how we're going to be successful in what we do.
Yeah, I think with these overscheduled lives that we lead, and if you've got children, it's even more difficult, because you tend to schedule their needs before your own. So I think as individuals, I feel that we are responsible for our own well-being, and so it's just as important to schedule the time for. I've got 3 things, like 2 kind of like reminders, and they are the 3 F's. You need to see friends. You need to have fun, and you need to be flexible in your thinking and in your attitudes, right? So I think that let go of your schedule and your kind of need to do everything, that flexibility around how you look at your must-dos and your list and the things you feel you have to do is really important every single day. Like, how can I flex that to fit my own needs in? I think that having fun is really important, and when I say fun, that's pleasure. Take pleasure, find things that give you pleasure, and that may be as simple as a cup of tea, looking out of the window and enjoying the view, or it might be watching something on Netflix. It doesn't matter, but it gives you a sense of pleasure. And then friends is about community and being part of something else. And you know, in lockdown, we weren't necessarily with our friends. We couldn't see our friends or our family, but we could be linked through various means and ways, whether it was clapping and seeing our neighbours, whether it was, you know, going to the shop and kind of just like nodding from a distance. But being in a community is also, and this is very important. So I think these 3 F's for me remind me every day about scheduling these things in, so that I can remain in a good place, you know, so to be resilient and to maintain well-being.
I love it. I'm going to keep those 3 F's.
3 F's.
Perfect, brilliant. Talking about self-worth and image, as dancers, obviously, we are constantly striving and have an inner voice that are constantly kind of pushing ourselves. Always kind of feel that maybe we're not good enough. What you know, we are achieving what we're meant to be achieving at this time. You know, our confidence is constantly being tested, the nature of the job.
Absolutely.
So, and part of your life and your business, in women particularly, you can see many moments of self-doubt. I think in everybody's lives we see it. So how do you deal with that, and what tips and tricks do you have to help?
No, yes, of course, it definitely.
Well, the 3Fs are good.
The 3Fs. I would say that that confidence, that inner confidence about you know, am I going to be good enough? That ultimately the fear of failure has to be counteracted with a sense of courage and freedom, allowing yourself to fail if it goes wrong, right? Yeah. So you have to be brave, and I'm sure you've had those moments where, you know, all eyes are on you and you're like, oh, and you think, please don't let me mess it up. I have definitely had those, and I think preparing for the moment is crucial. So I think you give yourself enough time to be prepared, and whether that's, you know, just asking everyone to just give you the space to get into the right frame of mind so that you are mentally prepared, because you may have done all the preparation practically, you know, in your case you may have spent hours and hours, you know, dancing and practicing, but if you go in and you're mentally not prepared, then you can have a poor outcome. And it's just about saying, no, give me the time to prepare. So I think, you know, make sure you give yourself that, give yourself permission to fail, and know that if it isn't quite up to your standard, you are going to be the harsher critic than anybody else. So you have to know that inner voice will be more ruthless than the rest of the audience or the population will be. So it's never as bad as you think. But even if it does go wrong, it's like, well, it went wrong, and so.
And that's life in a way. If we don't go wrong,
you know, it doesn't. You are still the amazing person that you were before, and everybody fails. Everyone needs to fail, otherwise how are we ever going to learn? So that some of the biggest wins have come out of, you know, bad situations in my personal experience. So and then in terms of like tips to boost your own inner confidence, I think these sound silly, but you know, I always think, make sure you like your hair, like do your hair, make sure you've like the things that matter to you. My personal thing is like my hair needs to look good, because sometimes it looks shocking, and it just, the things that just make you, and everyone will be different. Somebody else, it might be do their nails, or it might be wear a certain piece of jewelry. It's just something that for you makes you personally feel like, okay, I'm good, I've got this.
And it's recognizing those, isn't it? I don't think we're always very good at recognizing what makes us always feel good.
Yeah, and it can be very simple. It doesn't have to be you've spent hours having a full makeover, or you've got the perfect outfit. It can be just as simple as putting, you know, your child's Lego toy in your pocket as a reminder of, actually, these are more important. Yeah. I carry little Lego men around in my bag sometimes.
I'm a mother, I must remember this.
Yeah, get a Lego gives you a sense of perspective, which is ultimately what this is all about. Get some perspective.
Yeah, and as you say, success often isn't the reward in the end, it's the reward of trying.
Absolutely.
And I think we forget that, oh, we're going to get some extraordinary, you know, necklace or something to our success, but actually so much part of it is the experience of trying, that actually you have the great sense of reward. And I always say that to students when I'm teaching, you know, it's not always about the performance, it's often about the preparation and that experience of working towards something that you have a great sense of reward. So this is lovely. I'm so enjoying talking to you, Anna. So you mentioned children and sort of balance in life and how we pace ourselves, and it's, you know, as you said, then our self-worth and how we look after ourselves is if we manage our timings well. And as you say, we give good preparation for our time. Now, you're an incredibly busy lady, you know, having a family of your own, being a business executive, you know, a successful leader. How does that relate to your own success? I mean, you talked about other people being able to manage it. How have you managed it? Because you know, you're running a big business here and a CEO of a business like this. Is it the idea of the business itself that helps you because you know you're giving back?
Well, I think I'd say first of all that I don't get it right all the time, and I back to the 3 F's. One of them is about flexibility. So knowing that a plan I may have laid down for the business or myself within the business, that you have to be willing to flex that and you know, deal with the challenges that come, and know that sometimes you will have to make some compromises in certain places, and you've got to be clear where you're happy to make those compromises. If you're juggling children and a household and parents and friends and a family and, you know, your businesses, sometimes you have to, you know, make sure you're really clear what your priorities are, so that, and then live with them and be good with that. So if your child needs you in a certain situation, and it means you can't do something in the workplace, then you just need to be able to say, I need to be there for my child. This is what I need to do, and make sure that, you know, that's the people around you understand that. But equally, you have to be able to say the same to your children and your family. So it's about boundaries around and knowing what really matters and when it matters. And sometimes the plates will all fall on the floor, mind you. I pick them up, I dust them off, and I keep going. And so I think that kind of fluidity around of juggling everything and trying to keep things going, it's not linear. Sometimes you think this is never going to work and I've got this all wrong, especially when you have young children and you think this is just terrible. When they don't sleep, you don't sleep. But it changes, and then you get to a different phase in your life and you're like, okay, all right, maybe this is good. And then life throws you a different curveball and you're like, okay, now I'm in this one. But I think I love your comment about it's actually the journey as opposed to the destination. And I think that's so important. If we, as we're doing these things and striving and juggling, if we are also really able to say at any one moment, if somebody looked at you, are you living your best life? Are you happy with that? Are you comfortable with the sacrifices that you're making? Because if this is it and there isn't any more, will you feel that you lived your best life? And I try to hold myself to account in that, rather than, well, it will be all right in the future. It's a question of, well, is it all right now? Like, if I was going to judge everything today, would I be comfortable with that? That helps to manage and keep reining things in a little bit.
Well, I think we bring it back to your brand, that you're creating something to support people's lives, to give them self-worth, to give them wellness, and to look after their health. And I think that must be very rewarding, that you created something is there to support others, which I think, you know, we all need that. But yeah. I think it's really lovely to be a part of a business. I feel very lucky to be part of dance, because as an art, it's probably one of the most generous arts there is out there, because it's about passing on your knowledge, passing on your passion and your love for dance, and teaching that to the next generation, and that is a lovely thing, and I can see that with your brand. Obviously dancers are very aware of their skin. It's part of their image as a dancer visually. You know, they got to look good. But we wear a lot of stage makeup. Yeah. So and gosh, I remember from shows and trying to get the makeup off at the end of the night, and your skin, and you're like, oh no, I've got to look after it, but all you want to do is get out of the theatre and get home to bed, basically. Yeah. So what advice do you have about maintaining healthy skin, and how that contributes to your wellness?
Yeah, no, so back to this 24-hour piece, you know, we say at This Works that good skin starts with good sleep. So it's the first step in every beauty and skincare routine, is to get that sleep, because at night that's when all of the repair and the detoxification takes place. So, you know, I think that that's one of the rules, to get sleep, and to make that a priority. So, okay, putting that to the side for a second, cleansing your skin effectively but not harshly is really important, because the skin is your largest organ. It covers all of your body, and it has a outer surface, which, and the role of that outer surface is to keep the outside out and the inside in. And so one of the things with skin is that we tend to, especially if we think it's going to, we may have some blemishes, or we're concerned that pollution is perhaps, or in your case like stage makeup, we might be overwashing the skin using you know, quite stringent products that perhaps are, what they do is they strip the skin of their natural oils, and then the skin over time will break down. The surface of the skin breaks down, and that allows the environment to external kind of irritants, if you like, to get into the skin, and that causes sensitivity. And actually that can also lead to infection, so you get the blemishes. So I think one of the fundamentals of good skin health is to cleanse effectively but gently, and to do it regularly. So not in an obsessive way like my teenage son is constantly cleaning his skin, but to use products that are suitable for your skin type. So This Works products are, we strive for a 98% natural. So, like, you know, natural products are very popular. People like the fact that they're not using unnecessary chemicals on their skin. So we have products such as our evening detox range, which is products that can help remove your makeup, that can remove environmental pollution, and then you can dial up some of the exfoliation if you wish, because sometimes, probably a couple of times a week, you might want to do a deeper clean, so you can really extract the impurities. So effective gentle cleansing with the right products that avoid kind of chemicals that are perhaps going to irritate the skin is a very good starter. The next thing is hydration. So water, the skin loses water, it's normal. Back to my point though, if you are overwashing your skin, and it's happening a lot now, particularly in COVID, because we're hand washing, we're overwashing, we're washing. So the skin is drying out, and more water, it's called transepidermal water loss, there's more of it. So what that looks like in your skin, in your face, is dehydration, and your skin looks older. It will also look less vibrant, so it will look dull. If you've got any wrinkles, then they will look worse. So it's important that you use a good moisturizer to keep the water in the skin. So using certain molecules, my favorite one is hyaluronic acid, which binds water 1,000 times its own molecular weight. So we have a really high hyaluronic acid serum called Morning Expert Vitamin C serum, which has hyaluronic acid and vitamin C. So a product in the day like that will help to bind water and keep water in the skin is great. And then at night, use another moisturizer, a thicker one typically, because that's when most water loss takes place, is at night. So if you want to wake up looking fresh-faced, use a good moisturizer at night. Eyes are important, obviously. Eyes are very much on show as a dancer, so using an eye cream is a very good idea, because eye creams are specific for that delicate area underneath the eye. If you're somebody that suffers from dark circles, or you suffer from, you know, premature aging, then use eye serums that will help to support that. So again, we have our Morning Expert Open Eye product, which helps to tighten and widen the eyes in the morning, and then use your retinol products at night. So we have a product called Tired Eyes, My Wrinkles Tired Eyes, that you use at night, that has retinol products in it. The third thing is you must protect your skin, because your skin will be damaged by the environment. It very much the biggest cause of skin damage is the sun. So you need to use an SPF, and you need to use it all year, and then you need to use one that has effective broad range coverage, so that you get the protection from the burning rays, but also the aging rays. So we have a product called Skin Defense, In Transit Skin Defense, which is a fabulous product. You can use that underneath your makeup, but important that, you know, even though you might think you're not getting any UV damage, that you are during the day, even in the winter. So if you care about the long-term health of your skin, use an SPF. And then there are
and they're in the moisturizers, aren't they?
Yes, in the moisturizers. You don't need an SPF at night.
No.
So daytime use of SPF, hydration during the day, eye creams to help to keep the eyes in a good place, because your eyes will show the first signs of aging because they move all the time. Effective and gentle cleansing. And then at night, you know, if you're someone that's concerned about premature aging or wrinkles or skin, lack of firmness, that's when you dial up your anti-aging actives. So don't bother with any anti-aging during the day. It's about protection, but it's at night when the skin cells replace themselves that you should use products like retinol. So gram-active retinoid is a really popular anti-aging ingredient that we have in our new CPT booster with gram-active retinoid, and this helps to support that repair process so that you wake up in the morning with younger looking skin. So use your aging at night for best benefits.
Brilliant. Oh my goodness.
So that was a lot of talking there.
No, it's fabulous. I mean, I love all that, and I like that you really emphasize on the naturalness of the products as well.
Yeah, I mean, naturals, you know, being able to say your products are natural is important. People do really care about that, but they also want to know that products work, and you know, we are called This Works. My background, I'm a biochemist, and so for me it's really important that when you say products work, you can show that they do. So our ethos is help to solve the problems that people and challenges that people face in their life. So, you know, as we age and different problems occur, that might be dry shins or cleavage that's looking a little bit less perky than it used to, but it can also be lack of sleep, it could be stress. Today it's around, you know, concerns around sanitization. So This Works, our whole purpose is to provide solutions to the challenges, but really importantly, we have to show that they do. So we work really hard to put studies and clinical trials behind our products so that we can support the claims that we make in order to say this works. We want to promise our customers that, yeah, don't worry, this really does work. So that's really important to me personally, that we can validate what we say. And our customers, I think, you know, they're very vocal. If they don't like something, they tell us and we listen.
That's great. Well, I know we should round up, and it's been a fascinating conversation about our everyday lives and how we cope and manage them. But as a personal side, I know you talked about your 3 F's, your flexible, fun, and what was the third one? Friends. I love that. Community, bringing people together, and we know dance does exactly that. It brings people together. But if you had a personal list of your own about happy, healthy, balanced lifestyle, if you kept it really short in a daily routine, what would that be for you?
A daily routine?
Yeah.
Okay. So it would be wake up at the same time, and don't look at your phone, and don't look at a news feed, and take some light in your eye, take the light and have a nice breakfast, and take some simple pleasure in what you eat and drink. Then I would love to go and do some exercise. That would be my best day, like go and do a yoga class or ride my bike, do something that, you know, helps to get rid of the cortisol and feels like connects mind and body. I would then, I'm quite happy to work because I like my work, or hang out with my children. And then in the evening, as we get into the evening, I like to unwind and I ideally see friends and have some social connectivity. I love that. Dinner, ideally I don't cook it. Don't like cooking.
No, I like that. That's perfect.
Maybe a nice glass of wine, love that. And then, you know, just a gentle segue into sleep with a routine, a kind of sleep ritual routine, which involves turning all the lights down, lighting candles, breathing in nice fragrances, so, you know, our sleep fragrance, and going and cocooning. And so, like, looking after me and thinking about my needs, and I'm going to put my creams on, I'm going to bath, I'm going to, you know, I'm going to read, I'm going to do things for me. So that cocooning piece ends my day, and that's my 20, that's my 24.
Fabulous. Now, I always try and leave some time in bed to be able to read, because that just gets me into a calm place and focusing on a lovely story. But thank you so much, Anna. I think to all the 8,000 training dance teachers out there of the RAD, they're going to love this conversation. And I think we've been very fortunate to create a collaboration with you, and this works. And well, here's to more success and to looking after our lifestyles and our creating some balance and well-being. So, well, I'm totally on your page. I've really enjoyed that.
That was perfect. Thank you. You were very generous, and I, you know, appreciate that. You were